All right, so here we are, Zadig Voltaire. We got the reverse channel letters mounted to the Trick Raceway, plus a couple blade signs. So those are just our two-piece. I already sent those, so you guys probably already knocked them out or whatever. You guys know what's up with that. So let's talk about the letters here. Already sent over the faces and all that. So you got 3-inch returns. The backers are not traditional backers. These are just to hold the LEDs. The letters themselves are going to mount to the Raceway, as we already see that. So, but just to reiterate, make sure that the screws only go to the top. So follow this guide. I went ahead and sent this to print out. So you're just going to spring tension where the screws would be visible. Just go ahead and spring tension those, and then like I said, these screws will keep the backers from ever like flying out. But these are just to hold the LEDs, and that's it. I put strain reliefs right here so that way you can guide the leash and then strain relief it. You're going to go ahead and take those leashes and then run them through the top of the Raceway through the little hole there. So once we get to that. And then the channel letters, I already talked to Adrian a little bit, but just to give you a little bit of heads up. So you can see where this magenta here is like the return. And then you have the blue right here is like the flange. So it's real important that you keep, so you have a 3-inch deep return, but the flange itself is 6 inches. So you want to make sure that you weld this 050 to the 09 really well. And you can go ahead and run some tacks along the actual bend flange as well. I know there's a chance of burn through, so watch out. Maybe put it on a backer piece or whatever for a heat sink. The other thing is, we want to make sure this is nice and strong though, because that's what's actually holding the letter up. But you got to make sure that you keep this 90, because otherwise if it's, incorrect, then obviously the letters will be crooked as you kind of look, the A and the I and all that will be tilted. So just make sure that you got that welded up nice. A little, like what I tried to do is I tried to make it so the return could kind of run past on the ones that can run past, so you can make it go long. So like this E here, this piece, you can make this piece run long and then kind of sand it shut, and that's fine. The A, all of these are fine. But the round letters, obviously, they have to die into the flange. Now that presents a challenge because, again, you don't want to have a gap right here. So if you have sort of a gap and you try to close it with weld, it's not going to be very strong. Plus, it's going to pull it, and then this will no longer be 90, and you got big trouble there. So you might want to consider starting from here and then adding more seams than you normally would. So like this one here, I would lay this out, have it go this way, and maybe put the seam at top, and then go ahead and make this one come along. And that way you can adjust up here and making sure that you start fresh here and it's looking nice and it's bonked up against. That way you can get a nice weld right here. Otherwise, like I say, you don't have the luxury of really letting this run long and then doing your trim, because if you trim it a little too short, then it's going to pull it shut and it's not going to be good. So you want good fitment. With welding, you always want good fitment. Same thing here, like it dies up against. So I would go ahead and maybe put your seam here. So what I'm saying is on some of these, you might be more seams than normal. You'll see what's up. If you guys can get it right there, that's great. But otherwise, like I would start this and maybe put a seam here, even though you would normally start from here and go long. But because these die up against, you might end up just kind of going long here and then just put your seam. That way you can have ultimate adjustment and you get a nice fit. So that's all. Just kind of keep in mind, you might do these a little differently because you got to start from down here. On the ones that kind of die in, like I say, the stuff that's long, fine. Anyway, so that's it for the letters. Those are already all sent. I know you guys will knock that out. So let's get into the Raceway. Let's go to lay of the land. So you got Raceway parts. You got end cap, couple of mids that are on the end caps here. And then for shipping, this is broken into 2 sections. And then you have the top and bottom sections of both. You have the end cap here. And then you have some mid braces, plus a little custom brace. Keep an eye out for that little guy. And then you got your jigs. In the interest of saving time and money, more of like a jigless design. So all your center braces don't have jigs, kind of like the white Raceways. We've got 090 power supply box. I'll go over that, super trick, but we got to put the power in the Raceway, so it's just always fun. You got 090 Skinzzz. We'll go over that. And we've got some 1/8" Raceway mounts that will go inside as well. I'll show you those. And again, you already got those. I already sent all this, so you got your tabs and all that for your other stuff. Okay, so normal Raceway, quote unquote. None of our stuff's normal, but you're gonna go ahead and put your end pieces in. Again, look for the mids. The mid pieces have the holes here and here. They're exchangeable. They're symmetrical, so either one goes on either one. But I do have like a left and a right. I'm calling it. Let's just talk from the start here. We've got the left and we got the right side. So the Zadig and the ampersand will be on one side, and then the Voltaire will be all one word here, and then Voltaire will have power over here. So we'll go over that. So you'll just put your brace jigs in, your corner jigs and all that. And then these guys will fit inside, and you can go ahead and just tack. That's why I have a little example. You can tack on the inside, clean it up, tack along the inside there. This will make this nice and strong. Those guys here are here. They allow power through, all that. The only custom one is this guy here. It's only going to be on the face side, and I had to kind of chop it because that's where the power is going to be. So it's just one of these guys here, but just sliced off. And it's just going to help hold the face together. Now you see the green here, you got R, 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 and L, right? That's the back braces. That's where the power or the mounting is going to be. So that's these guys here. Bend these up, and these look very familiar. This will have a long snout that sticks out. That way, yeah, that rhymes. That way this gives full support to the letters. So you'll go ahead and tack that to the front, tack it along like we do. And because that way it fits in the brake, you only have one side and then the other. So make sure you bend this up. I don't have this marked, but go ahead and bend this up 1, 2, right? You know how we do. Or I'm sorry, it'd be 1 and then 2. Don't trap yourself. So get that welded in. Those go towards the back, and that's it. So tack those in. But also have the back flange pieces that'll come down. So that way it's like a stack. It'll be the 1/8", and then you'll have the hole here. You'll have the 1/8" welded directly to the 09, and then the 09 will be then stacked onto the skin, will be onto that. So it'll be a nice, solid, thick metal right there to make sure that this never comes out. So once you got your Raceway put together, put those back braces in there. You can see where these come down like that. You can tack all along there and kind of clean it up. And that way those braces will be in there nice and solid. I went ahead and put along the top, I put the reference kisses for Zadig and Voltaire all the way along the top. That'll just help you, when you look inside to sort of, you can nail down. Now these right here will self-tap from the top. So you don't need to actually access the inside to put these letters on. These letters will just, they're clearanced from the top, and you'll just frap those directly down right through here. Boom, boom. Got you plenty of clearance. So once the Raceway is built, then you can go ahead and put the front skin, maybe put the back skin on first. So you're going to cut, what's up, Edgar? You're going to take some round tube, some 1/8. Watch yourself on the saw, be careful, but cutting little nuggets. So make sure everything's braced and these can go flying. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. So you got 1¼ inch for all of them. You got 16 of them. These are just gonna be little footies. So you're gonna tack these to the back side. So I have reference kiss on the inside, 153. So you'll just line up your little footy there. The idea is to not go full weld all the way around. Because then this is just going to totally lasagna noodle. But obviously we can't do this after we weld, because then we'll jack up the Lords. I mean, we can't weld after we Lords. So put this down on your table, kind of clamp it down. And I would just maybe do a 3-spot, just a nice solid 3-spot, just to keep these from coming off. Obviously, once they get onto the wall and the bolt is squishing through, it's going to hold it together and it's going to live its life fine. So again, don't go full weld around these and then get this all wrinkly, because then you got to put this on the back and you got to Lords it down. So we want to make sure it lays down nice. So get these guys tacked on there, and then go ahead and Lords up the back side. And then maybe while you have access, I don't think you'll need it, but then go ahead and do the power supply. So the power box, it's just different. So you're going to rivet on. Let's talk about how this goes together. So you're going to take the top lid, and you're going to take the backer piece that actually gets permanently mounted inside the actual Raceway. And you're going to go ahead and rivet those together. So it's like our power boxes. You're going to have this like watershed lid, and it's going to go on top. You can see there's only 3 holes there. This is the top of the backer piece thing or whatever that goes on. So step 1, go ahead and rivet that together. And then once you have the backer skin onto the Raceway, then you can slide this in. That's why I'm saying leave the front skin off. Maybe it's easier to get in. And then go ahead and rivet. You don't need to lords or anything, trying to keep it fast. You can go ahead and just rivet this guy. That's what these 6 holes here. Rivet this to the back skin. Now that's going to be basically the holder. This thing that's going to be accessed from the bottom. These screw holes are going to be the holder for everything. So then step 3 is you'll have this little switch guy here, and you'll have, this is the power supply mount plate box thing. Now these are meant to come out so you can like work with them, and then you'll stick them inside. So the idea is that you'll put the switch in this thing, and then you'll put it up in, and you'll slide it into the permanent mounted box thing. So you'll slide it in there, and then from the inside you can frap. So you can get these 2 holes here, and then it'll frap into this holder, and you'll have your holes clearanced. And so then that'll be the switch, and it'll have a plate like we usually use. That way it's somewhat serviceable in case you ever need to. It won't be super easy, but you'll take the cover off. You can take these 2 screws, and then you can take the switch mounting plate out if you ever have to. Same thing with the power supply. Now I broke those up into 2 so that way you can take the power supply thing out as well. So if you look at it like this is the top view of the switch. So the switch plate will come out, and then you can also take the power supply out. The other idea is that you'll see we do a 1, 2, 3 bend. That closes up this end, and then the power supply one has the other end. So that way when you have this all together as one unit, it kind of seals it up. So this is the power supply one, and then this is that one, and the switch. So that way the switch lives in an enclosed box. That way no bees or anything can live in there. Keeps it watertight or water excluded or whatever. And then this kind of helps close that all up. So then if like looking at the top view here, power supply will live right here, and your switch will live right here, no problem. So once you get that in there, that's step 3. And then step 4 is the door. So this is like the cover. So just make sure the flanges are down like we do. This piece here will be the bottom of the cover, and then it'll wrap around the 3 sides. And then you'll just slide that bad boy right up in there like this, bonk. And then that'll create watershed like our Mark 6s, and it'll kind of enclose the whole thing on all 3 sides. And then you'll come in from the bottom, and there'll be separate holes that are clearanced. So you'll see these holes here. So these holes are widened for the already switch screws that are there, and these are for the power supply box. And then this is for access for wires, so you can trap the wires. So if you kind of look from the bottom view right here, you'll have these 3 screws hold this on, and then these are clearance. The orange ones are for the switch screws, and then you'll have these cutouts right here. So you can collect your secondary out, you can collect your primary out, and then everything will live inside this little box. That's turn 90 there, but yeah, so you get the idea. That'll be the power supply living right there. So a side view. So this little custom little box, that should keep everybody very happy because we have holes all along the top. So this thing's definitely not watertight. Obviously we want to, Bondo all the holes shut. And then on the face, I didn't lose my mind. I have these big old holes right down the middle for prep. Make sure these don't get Bondoed. They're going to be sticking on some sort of some kind of fancy molding. So in order to have that molding fit on there, I got rid of the PDF because it's too big. But in order for them to attach this molding in the field, they'll be able to reach in there and screw that on. Hopefully, that's the idea. So the front of the Raceway is all like perforated with these big holes. So that's these guys here. So that's what those are there for. Don't think that I made a mistake and Swiss cheesed it for nothing. So so once you get the power supply in there and everything's all nailed down and you like the way this looks, go ahead and lords on your front faces, and then you'll have bottom skin. This is all bottom access. So again, just watch your left, right, and center. I got your UL holes in there already. So we should have everything we need there. So again, it's not the trickiest of raceways. As usual, we're taking what we already know and just squeezing that dish rag of ingenuity and just getting every last drop out of it with this right here. I'm going to go ahead and, as much as you might not like this little guy, I'm going to add this to our Mark 6 products. And, maybe you might see this again for a Raceway power supply for rear access for the switch. So let me know how it goes. If we like it, we'll keep it going. If not, throw it in the trash like we do. So I think that's it. Good luck. We're all counting on you. Hit me up if you have any questions. Check.